shot their photos they wanted to get. I'm going to have you head right on down here so we can continue going over the engine. Alright, this black tank that you see right underneath of the fireman's seating area, it's just something that our maintenance crew put on. It's a backup air reservoir tank for our brake pump. If our brake pump seizes, it's going to give us a little bit of backup pressure that we can use for stopping. This nozzle that you see right here is just what we're going to hook that air hose to if we have to use the outside air source. This big black piece right here is the brake pump. We have all of our original brake pumps. We do have two backups, so if our brake pump seizes, they can take one off and put on a spare. And it'll still be the original style of brake pump. Right up above where the brake pump is our steam dome. On top of our steam dome, we have our pop-off valve and we have our whistle. All of our bells and whistles are the originals. Our pop-off valve is set at about 150. When the boiler pressure hits that amount, it's going to just release the excess pressure out of the boiler. The same principle as pressure cookers. We run our boilers at 140 pounds of pressure. We have 3 stations potentially. We stop at each stop for 2.5 minutes. We have 1.5 miles of track. That gives us plenty of time to build up pressure. We don't need to run any higher than that. So we don't. They're going to test the pop-off on Roger in just a moment as soon as they get the pressure up. We check that every morning. We want to make sure that it's working the way it should be, but we want to know exactly what pound of pressure it goes off at. Depending on what the humidity is like, what it's like that morning, if it's raining, if it's not raining, if it's hot, if it's cold, if that pop-off valve is aging, it may change by 1 or 2 pounds of pressure. So we check it so we don't pop off in the park. The guests do not like it when we pop off in the park, especially at Main Street. When you're going underneath the train station, if we pop off, it amplifies. And our disability ramp runs right next to the side of the engine. So you're going to be right next to it as it goes off. I'm trying to see, I'm like, is the valve starting to steam up? You'll actually see it start to steam a little bit right before it goes. While we're waiting for that to happen, this middle dome that you see right here is our sand dome. Our sand domes are still fully functional, however, we do not use them. We're in Florida, we don't get a whole lot of ice, we don't need them. We can use them if necessary, but we don't. There it goes. What would happen with the sand dome is you dump the sand, it would come down this piping, and it would dump in front of the front driver. It gives you traction just like rock salt would up north. If we had them, we would play with them, and it would cause unnecessary wear and tear on our drivers as well as our rails. This white-walled portion that you see right here is an actual tire on our driver, and it is removable. We don't have the equipment to do it. We have to have an outside company come in and do it. But what they'll do is they'll disconnect the engine from the tender. They're going to jack the engine up. They take off our driving arms. And they're going to superheat this portion right here. As they heat it, it expands. As it's expanding, they take a tool and slide it right into this lip area. As they get it in there, they're going to slowly work it around this way. So it works that part off. Once they get it popped off, they're going to superheat the new one, slide it on, and cool it quickly so it forms a tight seal to the driver. It's not something that has to be done all the time, but it does need to be done from time to time. Roger's actually the last one to have his tires changed. That was done about 2 years ago. And it had been 25 years or so since it had been done. And if you look at the side of it, you can actually see how it starts to wear from rides on the rails. As I said earlier, we do have the balloon-shaped smokestack on these trains. If you notice, we do have our Baldwin serial plating. However, the serial plating that we have on our trains is actually a copy of the original. It was passed from the original mold, but it is not the original ones that were on here. When they were restoring the trains and they tried to pop those off, they actually cracked the original ones. So they had to get new ones made. We still have the original ones. They're in storage someplace safe, but those are copies. We also have automatic oilers on all of our trains. Traditionally, before there was automatic oilers, a crew member, their job was to come out here on the runner while the train was in motion. These trains could do 50 to 55 miles per hour. They would climb out here with an oil can with a long nozzle, and they would lean up under to oil the moving parts. This would cause them to lose fingers, hands, arms, as well as falling from the train and rolling underneath the train. It was a very dangerous job to have. If the railroad was looking for someone to fill that position, they would ask them if they had experience. And if they said, yeah, I had experience, they would say, go like this. Because if you had all of your fingers and both of your hands, they knew you weren't experienced. A flag inventor by the name of Elijah McCoy felt that there had to have been a safer, better way to do this. And he went to work on the automatic oiler. Once he invented the oiler, he got it patented, but everyone wanted to copy his design because they saw what a good thing this was. Whenever engines were at the roundhouse getting worked on, engineers would look over each other's trains. If they saw the oilers, they would say, is that the real McCoy? Because they knew if it was a McCoy oiler, that was the best there was. Another invention that Elijah McCoy did for the railroad are the knuckle couplers. Just like we have on our train, that's his original design. On the front of our locomotives, our pilot, or cow catcher, as you may know it better, is painted the traditional red. Did everyone get photos in front of the train a few minutes ago? Does anyone want to get photos standing in front of the train? If y'all want to do that, now's the time to do that. Please be very careful of the knuckle coupler, that black piece that sticks out the front. It's greasy, and that